The hardest part of writing my memoir was writing a memoir. What is your favorite onstage role you have ever played, and do you have any dream roles? Oh, I love this question. Oh, you asking my questions. Hello everybody, welcome back to Artist Archives. My name is Nikki and I am filming the first ever Q&A on this channel. I am very much looking forward to it. We're just gonna sit, have a chat. I'm gonna be super honest about everything. I have a cup of tea right here. And so this Q&A is in celebration of a couple of different things. But firstly a bit about myself, because I think that will be useful. Like I said, my name is Nikki. I am an actress, a writer and an academic, and my debut book is about to come out, which I'm very excited about. So this Q&A is in celebration of me finishing the manuscript and the book release that's coming out very soon, and then it's also in celebration of we passed 50 subscribers, which is exciting. And so yeah, you might not have watched many of my videos before, so if you're new to this channel, welcome. And you can learn a bit about me and a bit about what I do and that kind of stuff, and then you'll feel, you'll feel all caught up and we'll be all caught up together. So that's what this Q&A is. So thank you so much if you've subscribed. Thank you so much if you've watched this journey of this book publication, and thank you so much for all the support that you have given me, even if you're a new subscriber, because that is also support. I submitted some questions on the community tab and I've been paying attention to questions that people have asked me just throughout this process, and so I'm going to be answering some of them now. Some of them are quite juicy, so stay tuned. So number one, let's talk about the book release, because I had some questions around like when is the book coming out? Also, nobody asked me this, and I really think it's because you're trying to respect my privacy, and I'm just gonna say it. Nobody asked me what the book title is, and I really feel like that's because I've been so vague for so long about it, because I didn't want to release it. But this is the video for it all today. Number one, when is the book coming out? Everybody, drum roll. In fact, grab a pencil, get ready, pop that date in your diary. The book release comes out on October the 10th. October the 10th, 2024, which is next month. And as I'm filming, this is exactly a month to this day. Look at God. So yeah, 1 month. I chose that date because it coincides with World Mental Health Day. And if you don't know what my memoir is about, it's about my own experiences with mental health and healing through a relationship with Christ, and understanding what the Bible says about mental health, which I feel like needs to be unpacked more. Because I certainly didn't know this as a Christian. I believed in God, was like, yeah, God is great, but didn't actually understand what does the Bible say about mental health. So that's kind of what the book is. It's a memoir, and it's also a biblical unpacking of what the Bible says about mental health. Question number two, which this is a self-imposed question as to what the title is. I feel like let's just do a title release, because I'm so excited. Now you can drum roll. I was about to tell you when it comes out. I've already told you that. Drum roll part 2. And the truth shall set you free. And the truth shall set you free is the name of the book. I chose this title after a lot of deliberation, but as I said, like, the book is a lot about like, how can I tap into truths to be set free? Like, you need to know the truth about your identity to be set free from a lot of these things. You need to know the truth about like whose you are. You need to know the truth that an eating disorder does not have control over your life forever and ever. You need to know the truth that there is hope in the future. Like, you just need to know the truth about your identity, that you are loved and you are precious. And I just want that truth to really just permeate the story. And so that's what the book is about. And yeah, I just want people to know the truth that they are so loved and so beautiful in their body as it is, So yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna have to start actually looking at the questions. Okay, so this is a question that comes up a lot. Question number 3. A lot that I've low-key just been avoiding. Will there be an audiobook? So the answer to that, the short answer to that is not right now. And so here's the thing, I initially was surprised because I was like, why are all these people asking me about an audiobook? Like, in terms of, does everybody want to listen to it as an audiobook? Like, do people listen to more audiobooks than read physical books nowadays? Which obviously a lot of people love listening to audiobooks, but I thought more people read physical. I don't know, or like an ebook version. But then, I mean, comment down below, you can let me know. But then I realized, oh, because it's a memoir and because I'm an actress, are people thinking, making that leap of like, not leap, making that connection of like, oh, she would audio narrate it. It's a memoir, right? So she would narrate her stories, she being me. And I was like, ah, that actually makes sense. And I thought, oh, is that something that people are excited for? Would people listen to my story if I narrated it? Comment that down below. Let me know. Because genuinely, you don't know what other people are thinking until you ask, right? So that's my assumption. So the answer is not right now. It's very expensive to produce an audiobook and do all of that stuff. But because people keep on asking, I don't know, maybe one day, I think it would be quite nice to narrate my story. I think that would be really exciting. Look, I'm just talking myself into it. So the answer is not right now, but maybe in the future. Okay, so somebody asked, how does acting inspire your writing and vice versa? Which is a great question, and it's one that I've actually been asked quite a few times, and I'm trying to think if I have a new and different answer to that from when I last answered this question. I think there's a lot of similarities between acting and writing. You are embodying a character. With writing, you are presenting different characters, and then with acting, like, you're also like embodying those characters. And I think probably the biggest impact on the interrelationship between those two is my understanding and presentation of dialogue. That's one thing I think, because for example, oh, I didn't even say at the beginning. Okay, Nikki, cut this, put this at the beginning. Well, I kind of said, I didn't really say. Professionally, I'm a playwright. I write plays. And so I would say, when I'm thinking of it from that perspective, as an actor, it's very easy for me to write dialogue because I know what it feels like to speak those words. You know, sometimes writers can write things that are overly complex or that don't sound like natural speech and it doesn't flow naturally. I think for me, because I have so much experience in performing and speaking the words of characters, it's very easy for me to write dialogue. So I'm going to say that's one way that they interrelate. Sometimes when I am writing, I will read the text aloud, and again, there's something about the flow, and probably not every writer does. I don't think that's something every writer would do, which is to read their scenes out loud. But I recommend it. I mean, it's helpful to hear the flow and that kind of thing, but I think maybe I feel confident doing that as a performer. So if you don't know, actually, I have a podcast called The Artist's Theology, and that is drawing upon lots of different relationships between the arts and then also biblical theology. And so new episode released not that long ago, so go check it out. It'll be linked down below. But what I mean by that is that it's not just the acting and the writing relating to each other. I dance a lot, and I always find so many parallels between dance and the process of acting as well. So I guess like I'm more interested in like the process of the acting and the process of the writing. So the embodiment of a character, inhabiting a character, those sorts of things. I'd say that's probably where they relate a lot. I don't know, I hope that made sense. I feel like it was rambly. Okay, acting question. What is your favourite onstage role you have ever played, and do you have any dream roles? Ooh, I love this question. Ooh, you asking my questions. I have a few. I'm gonna go with the one that like is just so close to my heart, which is, I played a character called Two. So that it was a two, like a two-hander. There was a character called One and there was a character called Two, and there were two sisters. And my character was the eldest sister, and yeah, so they were just called Two. And it was a play about two Nigerian sisters navigating a really difficult situation with a really difficult family situation, and it went to Vault Festival, and this was just before lockdown 2020, and I honestly think like it was just such a well-written play. It was the playwright's first play, it was their debut play, it was so good, and it was just so complex. I'll insert some pictures, and I really enjoyed playing that role, and I got to play opposite a lovely lady and someone who's become like a good friend of mine now. Her name is Jordan Noel, and I just think the dynamic and the relationship we had between us, like, I'm actually so proud of the work and how great that play turned out to be. I'm just really proud of that work. And then the other ones I'll mention are some shows that I've written myself. I wrote a show called For a Black Girl, which also went to Bowl Festival and a few other venues. And I wrote a show called Sankofa, which has been at a lot of places, and God is still taking the reins on that one and just being incredible and amazing and opening lots of doors. And I love playing that. I think it's just, in Sankofa I'm kind of playing myself. For a Black Girl I was playing many characters. Like, I think there's like something like between me and then the other guy, there's two, that one's a two-hander, but then with a movement ensemble. There's like 66 characters, something like that, and just switching between them, it was lots and lots of fun. So yeah. Oh, and then any dream roles? I have one role I want to play so much, but I don't want to say it because I've always told myself I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to book the job, I'm going to play the role, and then I'm going to come out in all the interviews afterwards and be like, I've always wanted to play this role. But I will say that something that I would be interested in doing is a bit of Shakespeare. Yes, yeah, a little bit of Shakespeare, What inspired you to pursue acting and writing? This is a great question. When I was a kid, I was taken to the library a lot, and I just fell in love with reading and with storytelling. And I love the high stakes of certain movies. My family are a big action movie family, and so it was just that high adrenaline and high stakes. When I was a kid, I would set my family down and drag my brother, which is so funny because he was probably like 6 and I was drilling him in the lines for Oliver. I was like, you have to get this right because we're about to perform Oliver for the family. Or I used to watch The Sound of Music. I think it's inherent, honestly, because I used to watch The Sound of Music, and you know, they're like, so long, farewell, you know, at the end when little, oh my gosh, Gretel, when little Gretel is like, the sun has gone to bed, it's and then she's like, and then she gets carried up the stairs. Every time I watched that movie, I would pretend to sleep and I would make my mum carry me up the stairs. So dramatic. So I think I just loved stories. I loved going to the library. I loved reading. I would say like a huge inspiration when I was a kid was the Enid Blyton book series. So good. I was obsessed with mysteries. I set up a mystery club when I was 11 years old. No, I set up a mystery club before that, and we used to go and solve mysteries at lunchtime. I created a spy file. I made my friends send me passport photos, and I created, it was, yeah. So basically, all that to say, stories inspired me. Books. Do you only write non-fiction, or will you explore other genres in the future? For example, romance, comedy, thriller, etc. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I am a playwright, and so predominantly I have been writing plays, which I know that's different from fiction, but I mentioned that to say, like, I don't just write non-fiction. It's so loud outside, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but in terms of prose writing, the very first thing I ever wanted to be was an author, so this is very exciting and a very exciting year. And in my kid's brain, that was of fiction books. I actually, when I was very little, didn't really like reading non-fiction that much. Loved reading stories. And in terms of books that I want to write after this, I would say my interest is less in non-fiction. That's not to say I would never write non-fiction. I have ideas, but I would say like my primary passion would be fiction. Now, in terms of what genre that would be, I have a fantasy book that I would like to complete. I write lots of fun drama plays, screenplays. I enjoy action, thriller, and certain varieties of horror. To be very specific, that are probably more thriller. Certainly not just non-fiction. Obviously nothing wrong with that, but definitely not. I love stories. That is my primary, that's my passion, storytelling. What was the hardest part of writing your memoir? Also, what was the easiest part? Oh, the hardest part of writing my memoir was writing a memoir. That sounds so sarcastic. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the beginning of, you know, the masterclass adverts. The hardest part of writing a memoir is writing a memoir. But in terms of when I first started this journey back in probably 2017 at this point, I don't even know. Oh my gosh. I don't think I knew what a memoir was. Like, I did not know what a memoir was. I was just like, yeah, an autobiography. Then I did some research and was like, ah, okay, this is autobiography, this is memoir. Okay, cool, we're writing a memoir. Then after that, I still didn't know what a memoir was. And I thought, cool, just a summary of lessons. So I wrote the book as a summary of lessons, like my key takeaways from my life story. And then went back and read some memoirs and was like, oh, I have to tell it as a story, it's creative nonfiction. So in a way that was the hardest part, but then it also became like a really enjoyable part because I was like, oh, this is what I love to do. I love to tell stories. I can write this in an immersive way. And so yeah, the easiest part was probably the joyful chapters. So there's a chapter in there that's about like my first week at university, and like that was probably like the easiest one to write because it's just like me on a night out with my friends and kind of like the first time I met those new friends, and yeah, going out on a night out with my friend, and that was just such a fun memory that was just flowing out. That was fun. I was like, yeah, let's retell this. So yeah, that's probably the easiest and the hardest part. Hardest, writing memoir. Easiest, the really fun, exciting memories of my first week at university. If you read my book, which please do grab yourself a copy, I love that chapter. It's just so fun. What is your favorite genre to read? I don't know anymore. I don't know. My undergrad was in drama and creative writing, and the creative writing side obliterated my love for crime novels. That sounds really mean. It's more that I was reading so many crime novels, and then I got there and was reading so much other literature that I fell out of having a very specific genre that I was obsessed with, and I just started reading lots of different genres. And now I don't have a favorite genre. I will tell you, like some books that I've read recently, Small Worlds right now by Caleb Azuma Nelson. So whatever genre you would call this, I guess this is like a contemporary literary fiction. It's gorgeous and beautiful, and I loved his first book as well, Open Water. Love this. Wow, okay, let's shift gears to this. I think this is a serious one. What is one piece of advice you would share with aspiring writers? And similarly, what is your advice to other creatives to help them keep their creative spark when life gets tough, lack of motivation happens, writer's block, etc.? And comment down below if you'd like me to give more writing advice. Like, I have been doing this for a while. I do this by God's grace full time, and I am an educator. I am an academic. Like, I teach a lot. Like, I do have advice to give. I don't really do so much of that on this channel. But honestly, believe in yourself, believe in your story, create the best work that you can create, and then don't give up. I think the biggest thing is perseverance in this game. I would say this to actors as well. It's not even necessarily like you are the best of the best of the best. You need to be there. You just need to be ready when the opportunity comes your way, because if you are a creative, if that's what you're meant to do, the opportunity will come your way. And so you need to keep going, and you need to believe in yourself that you can do it. Never stop. Get feedback from people, refine your work. Oh my goodness, okay. One big tip, invest in your craft. Okay, so your biggest, one of your biggest, one of the most valuable things you have as a writer, I personally think, if you're an aspiring writer especially, is time. That's one of the biggest gifts that you have. That is irrespective of whether you have a publishing agency, that's irrespective of whether you have a literary agent, irrespective of that. One of the biggest values that you have is your time. You need to invest in your career, and that means invest time as well. So that means, like, how do I put this when I say your biggest thing is time? So if you're an aspiring writer, let's say you're working like another job and you're trying to like make it as a writer, the biggest thing you have is time, because that job is actually providing you with the time to write. Does that make sense? Because money is time. So the fact that you have money is now providing you with some time that you can invest towards this. Whereas, let's say, if don't waste all your time, if you need to stay in for one weekend and finish the writing project, stay in for one weekend and finish the writing project. I finished my first book when I was at university. It was like 120,000 words. It was a fantasy book, and I finished that over the course of about 9 months. And I finished that because I realized I had time, right? Because university gave me the time to write. So yes, I had my assignments, but actually one of my huge priorities was finishing the book. So I would say that, like, recognize when you have time, recognize like what opportunities are afforded to you where you are, what is in your hand right now. That's something that Yvonne Orji says in her book Bamboozled by Jesus. It's really good. It's about how she became a comedy actress and a comedy writer in Hollywood. And it's, what do you have in your hand? Like, what ideas, what opportunities, what time do you have right now? Invest your time, and invest in your career and invest in yourself, because at the end of the day, what you're selling are your ideas, and your knowledge and expertise and experiences. And those ideas will come to you when you go to new places, when you travel, when you speak to new people, and when you invest time to actually think and process through your ideas. So invest in yourself. If that means you need to go on a little solo retreat, you need to book like a Premier Inn so you can sit in that for 48 hours and finish the project. If that means you need to go exchange your time so that you can get free access to that masterclass or to that workshop, invest in your education. Yeah, I was gonna this is a bit controversial, I'm gonna say it. My concern, what I see a lot of writers on AuthorTube specifically do, is not invest in their education, in their writing education, and instead invest in their YouTube education, which there's a lot of fantastic writing resources on YouTube, so please watch them. But if your entire education is just watching other writers who may not be qualified to give you advice, if that is your entire thing, it might not be improving your craft. You might be learning a lot about how to market a book, which is probably what you're learning. You're probably learning a lot about how to capture audiences, and I think that's brilliant, fantastic. But I also think there is a time and place to go to do a writing course or join a writers group, because writing courses can be, like, uni can be expensive and all that stuff. Join like a writers group. The biggest thing you'll learn is like to get feedback from other people. I've spoken for so long on this, but yeah, I just feel like I see a lot of, I've never done a writing course, I've never done this, I've never done that, but I watch like 50 YouTube advice videos, and I'm like, yeah, but also maybe join a writers group and just get some direct feedback from people who are qualified to give you feedback. That's it. That's my 5. That's my 5 cents. Okay, don't judge me. Don't judge me. It's not an attack if you do this. That's my opinion. So, and when you are experiencing writer's block, okay, I think these are all separate things. So let's start with when life gets difficult and how do you regain your creative spark. Take a break. If you can take a break, take a break. You need to refill the writer's well, but it's true, and you white knuckling your way through is probably not going to be useful. Yeah, don't force yourself to write unless you know that you're being lazy, but like if you feel depleted and all of that kind of stuff, I think you can take a break. Sometimes just take a break. Yeah. The other thing I think is useful is to it's going to sound opposite to take a break, but maybe work on something that you enjoy working on. Try something different. So if you are burnt out or whatever, you've been working on a long form project, maybe write a short story, maybe write a poem. Like, you can still be creative but in other avenues. And when you take a break as well, take time to rest, and then maybe also think about, like, oh, have I been to a museum recently? Have I just been on a walk through nature? Have I been to see a film, or seeing or engaging in art that's different from the art that you engage in primarily? So if you're a writer, maybe go to a dance show. Just be kind to yourself. I read a book a little while ago called Try Softer by Orndi Colbert. Highly recommend it for people, and I just think sometimes relax, sometimes relax. I was thinking today about how like life is just, you know, a lot of things that we worry about, we can just chill. In terms of, obviously there are things that are like very big and serious, but sometimes there are small things that we blow out of proportion because we're overthinking them. And it's like, you know what, at the end of the day, nothing really matters. We're really not on earth for that long. At the end of the day, no one's going to be over your shoulder forcing you to write. So like take that pressure off yourself and just find schedules that work for you. Yes, you can be disciplined, but you also need rhythms of rest and relaxation. So that's my thoughts. Writer's block, of the opinion probably since I was like, I don't even know, 14, that writer's block does not exist. And then I yeah, and then read a bunch of writers being like, writer's block doesn't exist. I was like, oh, okay, this is a thought process that lots of people have. If you're having writer's block, you think about what is blocking the writing, right? Writer's block, what is blocking the writing? Is it fear? A lot of the time it's fear. It's fear of the unknown, so you haven't planned out your story well enough, so you need to go back to the drawing board and plan. It's fear of writing the truth, because writing can be vulnerable and maybe you don't want to go where you feel like the story needs to go, so you're holding yourself back subconsciously. So maybe again, look at, can I write the truth? And you should write the truth. So find that courage within you to write the truth, or read other writers who have written the truth. Is it again, lack of inspiration? Then read works by other writers who are doing things that you admire and who will inspire you. I think there's always a reason behind writer's block. Writer's block is a very ubiquitous term. Like it's just like this, it's everywhere. It's like this umbrella term, right? Just narrow down what the writer's block is. Usually it's fear, or it's lack of preparation, or it's both, or it's lack of inspiration. And it's, yeah, do things to unblock yourself. So get inspired, plan better, get inspired, plan, or yeah, just figure out the root cause of the writer's block, I would say is my biggest advice. This is a fun question. What is one genre I would never write in? I would never write a cowboy western romance. It would not happen. But like a horror work of fiction, prose, I don't think I would write. I don't have much experience reading horror books, and in general I don't really like to scare myself, so I don't see myself writing that. And top 5 favorite books. Okay, Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman, The Book Thief by Marcus Cusack, The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Literally 2 weekends ago I read a book called Metanoia by an actress and writer called Anna Bagahan. Whee! That was a profound experience, so I'm bumping that up. And then the 5th spot, okay, don't judge me, but I think it's absolutely fantastic writing. The entire collection of Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. I'm sorry, that's it. And you're saying books, you're not saying plays, so I've stuck to books. Top 5 favorite movies, don't judge me again. Titanic. We're not going to talk about it. I love it, okay? Obsessed. Love Titanic. The Bourne Identity. Again, don't attack me. I love it. The Prince of Egypt. I think it was way ahead of its time. The animation, the music, the research, the authenticity. Oh, stunning. The biblical accuracy. It's all giving. The diversity. It's all giving. It's all giving. Okay. Oh, The Sound of Music. 100%. One of my absolute favorites. I don't know. I really loved Shutter Island. I loved Shutter Island. Ooh. Yeah, maybe Shawshank Redemption. That would be my 5. Oh my gosh. That's hard. Okay. Who has the biggest influence on your life and why? Probably my mum. Yeah, she's like a very big champion of my creativity, and I feel like that's really important, especially as a kid. I think a lot of my confidence was instilled via my mum's championing of, yeah, my creative process. So yeah, I'll say that. Oh, obviously Jesus, because I want my whole life to reflect him and his glory. So Christ is the biggest influence in my life. Thank you very much. My favorite thing about living in the UK, I live in London. It's a very creative space, and that's why I moved to London. It's very creative. There's so many creatives living here. It's just such a vibrant city, and I like cities. So because there's a lot happening, and so I think it's just the diversity of the city, in terms of the people, the diversity of the arts, and then the busyness of it. I like seeing big city skyscrapers. I also like nature, but I do also, there's a beauty that you find in the city as well. Last but not least, what inspired you to choose the self-publishing route? I said route. My least favorite pronunciation of the word route is route. I cannot how did that come out? Okay. We're gonna do that again. Wow. Choose the self-publishing route. Oh no. Would you ever consider traditional publishing? Why not? Yeah, I don't think I've really spoken about this. Self-publishing route for this word now. Self-publishing route for the memoir just felt like the best thing for me, although I have considered the traditional publishing side of it, and people because it's my story, because it's a personal story, I kind of just wanted to tell the story as truthfully as possible. And I didn't really want it to be meddled with, because I really, like, it's such an important story, and it's like, it's God's story, and so I didn't really want to have to like change the details of the story according to the traditional publishing like standards or requirements, and 100% for other books like traditional publishing. But having said that, so I've enjoyed the process of self-publishing. It's been really interesting. I've learned a lot, and so there's other books that I would like to self-publish, I think. But yeah, 100%, like, I want to traditional publish books as well. So it's not really like it was never really my plan to be a self-published author. It was just the writing and the stories, and also more traditional publishing. But then when I looked at this particular story, I thought like, okay, I think because it's my story, it does require like the creative control over it. But in terms of like other stories, like 100% I'm down for traditional publishing. So the term is like hybrid author, right? So yeah, doing both is fantastic. Just author is actually never really something that I thought I was gonna do growing up, but I'm really glad that God has led me here, and I think it's a very exciting part of my journey and my creative journey. So here we go. I hope you enjoyed the video. So many questions. Thank you so much. If you submitted a question, feel free to comment down below if you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions, I can always answer them down below. Leave me a little star emoji if you watched all the way to the end, and then I feel like I've been talking for so long, but I did want to, well, we said at the beginning we're gonna have a chat, right? Like, she finished this tea. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Please drop the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.